in my opinion and from what I've seen in my community, increased homelessness, increased transiency, increased property crimes, increased overdose deaths.
That was 2 years after Oregon voters approved Measure 110 to decriminalize hard drugs. Well, that's how the Malheur County District Attorney described the impacts of that new law: homelessness, property crime, and death. The idea is to treat people with drug addiction rather than, making them criminals and locking them up. And it was a good enough idea to pass in 2020 with more than 58% of voters in support of it. But many who oppose the law say it didn't really play out how they expected. Again, pointing back to the increased homelessness and property crime, especially in those areas, like as you mentioned, in Eastern Oregon, which is now a good time to bring in Andrew Bartline, who was up in Ontario once again today, revisiting them, where the police department is, well, they're kind of dealing with, I guess, both of these firsthand, right, Andrew?
Yeah, and that's the realities of policing in Ontario. Is these cars right here. You see that brick. Police say a woman took that brick, a homeless woman, smashed it through 7 squad cars, breaking the windows. You can see those pictures for yourself. And it was a landscaping brick, again, from other city property. In total, Ontario Police Chief Michael Ely says this will cost the city more than $15,000. That's still just an estimate at this point. It could be a floor up to $20,000. And the vandalism got around too, a block away. A woman had her window smashed at B&B Printing. And by this point, police received a call and they had arrested her with no problem. But police say they noticed very strange behavior when they showed up to make that arrest.
She was making some suggestions that there were a lot of bugs that were around her and that they were biting her. Her behavior was very erratic. She was sweating profusely, and she was screaming about the bugs being on her and biting her.
Police took her to the hospital because it seems like someone's struggling with a mental problem, mental illness, or having a negative reaction to a drug or other substances, which, well, police say was the case considering what they already know about this woman.
She admitted to recent psilocybin mushroom ingestion or hallucinogenic drugs, and with hallucinogens, some of the key indicators are elevated vitals, blood pressure, pulse being elevated, pupils being dilated, and synesthesia is very common within hallucinogen drug category. We definitely knew the suspect previous to this incident, so we know this person, and drugs seem to be an issue with this. So when you talk about ballot measure 110, yeah, there's still a lot of wraparound services that we can't provide 24/7. I'm hoping over the next couple of years, more funding finds its way to Malheur County, specifically Ontario.
Why are we looking into this specifically? Well, it's because this is the exact example that Ontario city leaders and Malheur County leaders have complained about to us going back to last year. Chief Ely suspects this woman was under the influence of drugs. She admitted to taking drugs that day. He says he has seen this pattern of behavior, believes that she has an addiction and she needs help. Well, they can charge her for these property crimes and these damages, and they are, but that doesn't solve the root of the issue. And even with an admission of drug use, I should say, and the long history that the police department has seen with this person, they have no power to push her into any sort of drug rehab or treatment.
A lot of people have no hope, and I can't give people hope. That needs to be more intrinsic. They need to want to change. But I am doing my part in working with our community partners. The entire police department's doing their part to support those that really want the help.
EY adds, under Oregon law, Ontario needs more resources to help with the needs of homelessness, drug addiction in their city, which really is the point of Measure 110, how it's supposed to work. They legalized marijuana years ago. That means there's a lot of tax dollars, right? Well, Oregon Health Authority says Malheur County received $2 million before starting this calendar year, and we can actually see how they're going to be spent if I would have timed this graphic a little more closely. There's a line item. It's supposed to be $350,000. That's how much they've spent of the $2 million on just housing services alone. Meanwhile, though, there are 0 clients for this rehousing piece of the report in Malheur County. So we were told in November that Eastern Oregon Center for Independent Living, they're one of the 3 local organizations that get this money, Brian, they were going to institute a 7-unit complex with addiction recovery services in-house. That was the goal.
Okay.
$350,000 they've spent, no clients. We reached out to them. Is this moving forward? Because this individual case, this person, seems like someone that could benefit from it.
Right.
Well, it's been years, And it doesn't seem that there's been progress made on this, at least that we've been able to report up to this point, and what we've heard now without getting a response today.
Okay, so you mentioned this is one woman's story and one day out of her life kind of thing. Is there any indication that this is more widespread than this one woman in one day?
Last November, when we did the original story, property crimes increased by a significant number. And my first thought was, well, can you really attribute all property crimes to this situation? That might be a loose connection as well. But the police say that there's a connection there. And in this case, it seems there is.
They're waiting for more money, and we'll see if we can get some more numbers to back that up. All right, thank you very much, Andrew.